So let me see, it's December 12th, 2021. I can't even believe it. I am sitting here in my living room by this beautiful fire, and I've just spent the morning walking on my most sacred land that I am the caretaker of. And it is our first snowstorm, and it is gorgeous. First snowfall. So I want this Tim Talk to be entitled Greeting the Day and Greeting all the things in nature that you love. Now, this is really important for building up our relationship with nature. And I thought about it today, going with our first snowfall. And I knew it was coming. So last night when it started, I went out in front of my house and I just put my arms up and I looked up into the sky and I turned the light on a little bit. I could see the snowflakes falling down through the trees and a few stars twinkling in the back, mixed with the clouds that were bringing us the snow. And I just looked up and I opened my mouth and I caught the snowflakes in my mouth and I greeted the day, internally and outwardly. I said, "Thank you, snow, for coming. Thank you for coming. We need you to cover our mountains and give us a good thick snowpack for the spring and the summer, for all the creeks and the plants and the trees and the animals. And thank you now for coming and bringing your beauty and the sustaining life that your water brings that is within the snow." And I imagined for a moment, even though I couldn't really see it, I'd have to see it under a microscope or something like that, the incredible beauty of the snowflakes. I don't know if you've ever had a chance to look at photographs of snowflakes, but if you haven't, I would suggest that you look that up and look at them. If you want, we've talked a lot about miracles in nature. If you want to see a miracle in nature, look at snowflakes. If I understand it right, every snowflake is a different pattern. Every one. You're talking zillions of them. And every one is extraordinarily beautiful, extraordinarily beautiful. Some of the things that snow in the winter brings like that. The other thing I find just absolutely stunningly beautiful and worth taking in and offering thanks and gratitude to. It's as simple as just appreciating something, taking a moment that builds your relationship more deep with nature, with the earth, and actually has profound consequences for your life as your relationship builds. It's just taking the time. And I was walking today out on the land. There were some spots where the water on the creek pools were starting to freeze. And you could see the patterns of the ice kind of cracking with the water moving underneath it. And it was like nature's art. Oh my God, was it beautiful. Stunningly beautiful. That water running under, the cracking ice on top. And then my eyes moved across the creek to the edge where grasses were kind of leaning into the water, and they had become coated with water and they turned to icicles. And so there was this array of incredible icicles hanging and cracking and making sounds as it was touching the water, and then the frozen water and the water running and the snowflakes falling. And it's like, oh yeah, winter wonderland. And it's taking, first of all, it's being willing to take the time. You know how many people would, in the morning, they'd get up and they'd see the snow and the cold, they'd say, nah, and they go back in and they never associate. That's not how you build your relationship with nature. That's not how you bring wonder into your life and magic and amazing moments that inspire you to think amazing thoughts and to have amazing ideas and then put them into action and treat your life as amazing, and onward and onward and onward. It's all connected. We are all connected to the earth and all the things that live upon her, and to everything else, including our thoughts and our ideas and our hopes and our dreams. It's all together. It's all one. And yes, looking into a frozen creek with snow falling onto it can be that epiphany moment that sets the stage for the rest of your life. Yes, I believe that completely. But if you don't get off your butt and get out in nature, if you don't do it, if you don't greet the day, if you don't greet the plants and the trees, nothing will ever happen. And your life will never begin. It'll just stay stagnant. So greet the trees as you're walking down the trail in the snow. It's snowing, and this is any time in nature. I'm just talking now about the first snow. Look at the trees and take a moment to appreciate the incredible patterns of the snow upon the bark and upon the needles of the pine trees, the needles of the fir trees, and the leaves of the trees at the bottom on the ground where they've fallen out from the fall. And appreciate the beauty. Offer thanks, offer gratitude for the absolute beauty that these living beings give to you just through the way they live. That is the connection you need to make. And do it 1,000 times over. There's how many plants in the woods? How many trees in the woods? How many views of blue sky coming through the trees? How many places where the snow has set different patterns upon the trees and the plants? Think of the edges of things, how things change. Edges of meadows, edges of forests, edges of creeks, edges of rocks. Look at the patterns of the snow building up upon the rocks in the creek, and how the creek tumbles down around them and takes little bits of the snow and adds it to its water base. These seem like small things, but they're big. You're getting connected to the living being called the earth and all the things upon her. And in that connection, in that greeting of the day, in that offering thanks and gratitude, which could just be a look of happiness, a look of appreciation, a word, it could be a song, it could be a chant. Do it with a friend. Take a friend and share with each other the beauty. You show a friend what you find beautiful and take them into your world. Explain to them why it's beautiful to you and let them do the same to you, and you expand yourself and build the friendship closer. I love to do it with my dogs. You know, sometimes I'm a nature photographer, so I love to have that pristine snow with no tracks, unless it's a wild animal track. So I've got to watch my dogs because they tend to run everywhere. But oh my gosh, it's so fun to watch them, their happiness in this. The first snow today, when the dogs went out the door in the morning, they were so happy. They were so full of life. They were just charging through the snow, wrestling and playing. They were doing what I'm saying. They were offering their thanks and their gratitude to the first snow by expressing their love of it through action, through play, through fun, through joy, through appreciation. All of this matters, folks. All of it matters. But none of it happens if you don't get out and go out there. And it's okay to get a little wet and cold. You know, I got my warm fire here. You see it. No matter how wet I get, I come back and I get by my fire. I'm great. If you're out in the woods camping, you come back, get by your fire. If you're in a place where it is a little bit cold and you don't have the ability to be by a fire, then wear your good clothes and stay warm that way. Make sure you got your gloves on and your good boots. But get out there. And I mean, even, you know, and I've talked about this in other Tim Talks, in inclement weather. Get out in the storm. Get out in the blowing wind. Get out in the big, huge snowflakes falling. That's when things happen for you. Things happen. I'll repeat and kind of finish this Tim Talk with this. When you do this, inspiration bursts within you. And in that inspiration, you come up with great ideas. You think of your dreams, and not only think of them, but you think of ways to make them come true. You have wonderful thoughts and ideas that allow you to explore more deeply the world you live in. And in all of that, it equals your life becoming more full of beauty and wonder and magic and hope and dreams. And in that, you live well. You see how it's all connected? Too many people simply don't engage in the world. They shut it out. And often it's not a conscious thing, it's an unconscious thing. They either spend all their time in front of a computer or a smartphone or in front of the TV, or they find every excuse in the world not to go out in nature. It's discomfort. They're scared. They're going to get lost. They're going to be lonely, etc. There's always an excuse. You must be the kind of person. You must be the kind of person that's willing to take risks, willing to be uncomfortable to be comfortable, willing to go out and explore the unknown with the trust that you'll be okay, but knowing that you don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what's happening always. It's in those moments when it all comes together, and that equals you having an incredible life. And I'll finish by saying this. You are sacred. You are phenomenal as a human being. You are one of the great beings of the planet, along with every other living being. It's time to treat yourself that way, and then expand that love of self out to the world around you. Ho to the snow. Ho to the first snow. It's a good day here at Headwaters Outdoor School. Thanks for listening to this Tim Talk. I appreciate it. Ho. I started these talks, and I still believe they're mostly for our alumni and future students, people who are interested in coming to our school, to continue with the teachings of the school, or to be introduced to the teachings of the school, which, if I had to break it down, it would be to build a deep personal relationship with nature, reclaim our birthright to be close to our earth in a personal way, and a call to action, a willingness to take on the idea of becoming an earth caretaker as one of the purposes, if not the main purpose, of our life on earth. That's what these talks are about. I hope they inspire people, and I'd love to hear from you on ideas for talks you might like to hear and questions you might have if I brought any up.